Why do video game movies suck? Find out today on the Nerdiscussion. Welcome back to the Nerdiscussion, a weekly segment on my channel where I take a topic from video games, pro wrestling, anime, and comic books, and I give my 2 cents on it, and I leave the floor open to you guys where you can discuss about said topic in the comment section below. Today's discussion, the quality, or lack thereof, of video game themed films. So, video games and movies. A combination that should be extremely compatible with each other, kind of like peanut butter and jelly. However, it just ends up being more like oil and water. The less there are together, the better it seems to be for both parties. But I feel that there is a way to rectify it. But before we get into that, let's take a look at where they are right now. So, video game themed movies have been getting mixed to negative reactions from both critics and fans alike. And here are a few examples. Admittedly, I haven't watched all these films because I kind of saw the TV spots for them and I said this movie looks really bad and I'm not gonna watch it. I didn't even care to look at it. But I did watch a couple of them. Like for example, I did watch the first Mortal Kombat movie and admittedly it wasn't too bad. It was a cheesy entertainer. It was fun to watch. Nothing to write home about. What do you expect from a movie which is based off of a game in which you tear out a person's spine and beat them to death with it? It was still fun and it was enjoyable. It was just really cheesy and nothing spectacular happened with that film. But then we got other movies too. Fast forward to 2005 where we had the movie Doom, which in my opinion is one of the easiest movies to make into Hollywood, yet they somehow screwed it up with a boring storyline, boring characters, and a first-person view shootout scene, and this. That still gives me nightmares. And of course, not to mention the Assassin's Creed movie, which also had high hopes, but was a huge disappointment to fans. And the only game so far that has had a somewhat respectable, well, I wouldn't even say respectable, a somewhat passable adaptation into a film is the movie Warcraft. And even that movie wasn't exactly spectacular. And the thing is, it still didn't garner like rave reviews like everyone thought it would. What is the problem? Why are video game movies not living up to the source material? Well, here is what I think the problem is. Why do video game movies suck? What is the problem? Well, here's what I think. Personally, I don't feel like Hollywood respects video games as a legitimate form of art, which I think is absolutely absurd because there are many artful games out there that you can check out. Another thing, people are not looking past the surface. People are not looking past Fortnite or PUBG or even Call of Duty, and all they see is a bunch of 12-year-old kids making a bunch of psychotic threats to other players that shoot them. And that is absolutely not the case with video games. That's just the fact that your child is possessed and he needs to see an exorcist. But all joking aside, people just don't understand that there's a lot more to video games than a bunch of run and gun interactive experiences. Every game is not just you get a gun and you go and shoot a bunch of bad guys. There's a lot more to it than that. Unfortunately, like I said, Hollywood is not able to recognize that. I don't think they're even willing to put out the effort and see what else is out there, which is actually a shame because there are a lot of video games that have the potential to be really, really good films. For example, don't even have to go too far. Look at the short film that they made for the Uncharted series. It was amazing. It was, dare I say, masterful. I'm waiting for a sequel. I'm waiting for that to be a full-fledged movie. You know why? Because they understood the story, they understood the game, they understood the character of Nathan Drake, and they were able to make a very good 14-minute film, which I personally feel, like I said, should be blown up to a 2-hour movie. And I would pay through my nose to watch such a film because it was skillfully crafted. So another problem I think people have in Hollywood is the fact that they don't feel like we'll get invested in the characters that video games have to offer, which it could not be farther from the truth. Because before the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I did not know anything about Iron Man or Captain America. I did not know about Black Widow or Hawkeye or any of the characters from the Avengers. But when I saw the first Iron Man movie, I was very invested in Tony Stark. I was very invested in his character. His troubles felt like my trouble, and Marvel had done a great job of introducing a very layered character into their cinematic universe. Subsequently, with all the other entries in the Iron Man franchise and going into the Avengers movies, Iron Man became almost like the forefront of the Avengers movie. He's pretty much become the poster boy for the Marvel Cinematic Universe because a lot of people, including myself, did not know much about this character, but when they saw the Marvel movies, they started caring. And this goes back to my point about having good characters, but that's obviously something that I covered in my last videos. And one more thing, I guess they don't think that there's any stories that video games have to offer, which again is absolutely wrong. Look at the Telltale games. They are all about story. That is like the centerpiece of each game. And the best part about it is you, the player, get to decide the course of said story. There's nothing more powerful than when the gamer or the viewer feels that they have some sort of stock in said story. In summation, I think the whole problem is the attitude Hollywood has towards video games. They still feel like they're for kids, and it still feels like they think that there's nothing else beyond first-person shooters and Fortnite. But here is my solution. So, what is my solution to this problem? Do some research. In other words, play some damn video games. You have to learn your IP that you are trying to adapt into a film. If you don't, then you're toast. Look at what happened to Dragon Ball Evolution, for example. I saw the TV spot and I didn't care for it, so I knew this movie was going to suck. That's another story. Anime that become live action movies have similar problems, but I'll talk about that some other time if you want. I feel that that is the whole solution. Know your product. Just like how you do research for a movie adaptation of a novel or a movie adaptation of a graphic novel, do the same thing for the video game. Treat it like that. It is as much of a legitimate art form as a book. So treat it as such, please. Another thing is just to make sure that you don't stray too far from the path. Hire the actual IP creators. Hire the publishers of that video game to come in and act as consultants, because then they can make sure that the script is not straying too far from the path, like I mentioned, and they can give a pretty accurate storyline for said movie. It doesn't have to be an exact rehash of the first Halo game or whatnot. Just make the story fit in that sense. Make the story fit within the context of your IP. Great example, the Uncharted film that we got earlier this year, actually last month I think, or something, in the past few weeks. Look at that. I mean, it was a short film, but it does take place between the second and the third game. So they did not do a complete rehash of the second game or the third game. They kind of kept it in the middle of that, but it was still within the context of the Uncharted franchise. That is what I want to see in a good film adaptation of a video game. So that is one thing. And having a few Easter eggs here and there for good measure. That is all I feel that needs to happen, and that is my solution. So this is why I think video game movies suck right now, and my solution for said problem. Let me know what you think about this whole topic in the comment section below, because I want to start a discussion, and please be nice in the comments too. Thank you. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on social media, and tell your friends about the Nerdy Mark. But until next time, this is Sid signing off. You guys take care. Bye-bye.